Okay, y'all, sit down, lock the door, and put the phone on Do Not Disturb, because what Cardi B just said out her own mouth about the Essence Festival is the most unhinged, delusional, ego-shredded public confession we have heard from a Grammy-winning rapper in a full calendar year. And by the time you finish this video you are going to understand why the entire industry is quietly whispering that Cardi B just cooked her own stadium career on a live stream in front of millions of witnesses. That is not a headline. That is a receipt. And it gets worse. Because while Cardi B was screaming her lungs raw in New Orleans, Stefon Diggs was seen laughing about the performance in a group text that already leaked. Megan Thee Stallion was being pulled into the mess whether she liked it or not, and Rihanna, Beyoncé, Teyana Taylor, Justine Skye, and even that Walmart yodeling boy somehow got dragged into the same 48-hour hurricane. Do not click off. Because the piece nobody is telling you, the piece Cardi B accidentally revealed when she thought the cameras were only half rolling, is the reason this whole story just detonated. Let me set the table. Cardi B pulled up to the Essence Festival, one of the most sacred black stages in America, a stage that has held Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Janet Jackson, Beyoncé herself, and Cardi B, God bless her, walked onto that stage and did what Cardi B does best, which is scream. Now, screaming has always been part of the Cardi B brand. But this was not a bar. This was not a hype ad-lib. This was a full, throat-shredding, veins in the neck, security guard flinching bellow that echoed across the Superdome like a car alarm going off at 3 in the morning. And the internet noticed. Bardagang tried to spin it. They tried to say she was just excited. They tried to say she was giving energy. But everybody with functioning eardrums heard the truth, and Cardi B, to her credit or to her doom, decided to address it herself. Here is what she said, and I want you to really hear it, because the wording matters. Cardi B admitted, live and on the record, that she could not hear herself on that stage. She admitted she was screaming because she thought the audience could not hear her. Cardi B admitted a stadium is different from an arena. And then Cardi B said, and I quote loosely, that she wants to one day headline her own stadium show. Baby, listen to me. That is not a goal. That is a public prayer request. Because a woman who cannot handle a shared Essence stage does not get to walk into a solo stadium tour 6 months later. Cardi B, respectfully, that is not humility, that is delusion in a Birkin. And here is where it gets spicy. Because Cardi B did not just admit she was screaming. In the same live, she casually mentioned that she is, quote, never on beat. She said, and I want the Bardagang to sit with this, that a chick like her is never on beat. Now, my darlings, that is not a self-deprecating joke. That is a Grammy-winning rapper telling you she does not perform to the pocket. Meanwhile, Megan Thee Stallion, who she allegedly cannot stand in real life, was clocked at Ulta Beauty this same week performing choreography, on beat, hair flipping, twerk lined up like a metronome. See how the universe balances things. Cardi B says she cannot count. Megan Thee Stallion accidentally counts for her. The comparison writes itself. Now let us layer in the boyfriend of the year, Stefon Diggs. Because you cannot talk about Cardi B in the year 2026 without talking about Stefon Diggs. And Chris Blake, the podcaster who has been on her neck for months, went off again this week, and honestly, Chris Blake was not lying. Chris Blake pointed out what everybody with 2 working eyes has been saying, which is that Stefon Diggs is treating her like a promotional tool. Stefon Diggs is quiet when she gets dragged. Stefon Diggs is quiet when she is dancing in Walmart parking lots to sell a project. Stefon Diggs is quiet when the baby mama receipts drop. But the second Cardi B tries to compare Stefon Diggs to Travis Kelce, and tries to be the black Taylor Swift, that is when the whole industry starts giggling. Because let us be honest with each other. Taylor Swift did not have to shake anything at a Walmart to move albums. Taylor Swift did not have to explain why her stadium performance sounded like a fire alarm. Taylor Swift owns her masters. Cardi B, respectfully, does not even own her own narrative right now. Atlantic is barely funding the rollout. She is doing guerrilla marketing at big box retailers. And Stefon Diggs is out there smiling with 3 different baby mamas at the Super Bowl while she sits front row looking like she just found out about the tooth fairy. That is not love, sis. That is a hostage situation with a diamond necklace. Speaking of the necklace, let me tell you why the Blossom necklace moment on her live is more strategic than you think. Cardi B pivoted from the Essence disaster into a monologue about how obsessed she is with her 4 children, and specifically how she is obsessed with Baby Blossom and Baby Brim. That was not accidental. That was a PR pivot in real time. She knew the internet was frying her over the screaming, so she threw a pink diamond and a baby name onto the table and said, "Look here, look at the mother, do not look at the performer." And it worked for about 6 hours. Until Chris Blake pressed publish. Until Bardagang started fighting itself in the comments. Until somebody replayed the audio of Cardi B admitting she is never on beat. Now, here is where the story takes a turn nobody saw coming. Because in a completely separate live, she teased new music. Cardi B said she has a surprise on the way. Cardi B said she is the big bad wolf and the industry should be scared. And a lot of you are asking me, is that new music the Megan Thee Stallion collaboration everybody has been whispering about? Because those two, our girl and Megan Thee Stallion, allegedly have a joint record sitting in the vault, produced off a camel fat sample, and industry insiders say Atlantic wants it out before the end of the year to rescue the album cycle. Let me be honest with you. The Bardagang can lie on the internet all they want. But nobody, and I mean nobody, is thirsty for another Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion collaboration. The last one was a moment. The one before that was a moment. But moments become memes when you try to force them a third time. And I will say what nobody else on this app is brave enough to say. She and Megan Thee Stallion do not actually like each other. That is not shade. That is a factual observation. Because if Megan Thee Stallion was willing to walk away from Tory Lanez, willing to walk away from Rock Nation drama, willing to walk away from JT and the entire City Girls conversation, Megan Thee Stallion will absolutely walk away from her the second the check clears. Loyalty in that friendship is written in disappearing ink. And that brings me to Chris Blake's second point, the one that made her team allegedly send private cease and desist emails this week. Chris Blake said, and I am paraphrasing gently, that Cardi B is still emotionally entangled with Stefon Diggs even after Stefon Diggs publicly humiliated her. Chris Blake believes, and I 100% agree, that Stefon Diggs ran back to her with a sob story, played the victim, cried about being dragged online, and she, who has the biggest heart of any rapper alive, opened the door back up. That is not a queen move. That is a Wattpad move. Cardi B, my sweet, sweet Cardi B, you are worth more than a man who takes group photos with his baby mamas at a Super Bowl. Now let us pivot, because Tyla just dropped the tracklist for her new album, and this whole universe is about to intersect with the Tyla universe in a way nobody predicted. Tyla titled the album Pop, and the tracklist is a linguistic ambush. Is it love? Double blind kids. Shark teeth. Mr. Nonchalant. Hot tubs. Feel something right now. Fairy tale. She did it again with Zara Larsson. The flop. Chanel. That girl. Crazy of me. I don't care. Now, look at those titles. Look at them again. Because at least 4 of those track names read like subliminal shots. And the Tyla girls are already convinced that she did it again is a shot at another pop girl, and I have my theories, and I will share them in a second, but first let us talk about the fact that Tyla barely put any collaborations on this album. And that is either the smartest move of her career or the last nail in the coffin, depending on how the numbers land. Because here is the Tyla problem nobody wants to say out loud. Tyla's collaborations flop. The Future record flopped. The Zara Larsson record flopped. So Tyla making a mostly solo album is actually a defense mechanism dressed up as artistry. If Tyla flops solo, at least Tyla flops on her own terms. That is Beyoncé-level strategy from a girl who is barely 24. Respect it, even if you side-eye it. Now, Megan Thee Stallion. My darlings, Megan Thee Stallion is being accused of bleaching her skin. Megan Thee Stallion showed up to an Ulta Beauty perfume event this week and the internet lost its collective mind because Megan Thee Stallion is visibly lighter than she was 2 summers ago. Let me tell you exactly what I think is happening, and I want you to receive this with the nuance it deserves. Megan Thee Stallion, going back years, has struggled with severe acne. That is not a secret. Megan Thee Stallion has been very open about her dermatological journey. And a lot of the medications prescribed for cystic acne, including certain retinoids and certain oral treatments, can absolutely lighten the surface of your skin over time. That is science, not shade. So no, I do not think Megan Thee Stallion is out here bleaching herself like Kate Michelle allegedly did. Megan Thee Stallion is not Kate Michelle. Do not conflate the two. But Megan Thee Stallion also needs to address it, because silence is going to let that rumor calcify into fact. And here is the kicker. Megan Thee Stallion allegedly has a camel fat sample coming before the end of the year, the same production house that Cardi B is rumored to be tapping for her surprise. So both of them, our girl and Megan Thee Stallion, might be dropping camel fat sampled records within weeks of each other. That is not a coincidence. That is a label war. And camel fat, honestly, must be starving for a hit, because if the two of them are both raiding your catalog, your legacy is up for auction to the highest bidder. Megan Thee Stallion can rap, let me say that on the record. Megan Thee Stallion has bars for days, but Megan Thee Stallion has not had a certified radio smash in a long time, and that is the truth even the hotties know deep down. Alright, buckle in, because Rihanna just re-entered the chat. Rihanna posted a documentary teaser about why she is always late. A fan in the comments cracked a joke and said, late on the album too. And Rihanna, with the flick of a manicured finger, replied, depends on which album you are talking about. Baby. Baby. That is a double album confirmation dressed up as a one-liner. Industry insiders have been whispering for months that Rihanna recorded a pop-leaning project and a reggae-leaning project, and that the label buried the reggae one because the label does not know how to market a Bajan queen making Bajan music. Imagine that. Imagine telling Rihanna, the most influential Caribbean pop star of the last 2 decades, that her Caribbean album is not commercial enough. That is not A&R. That is oppression with a spreadsheet. But here is the honest Rihanna problem. Rihanna does not want to tour. Rihanna has said it, Rihanna's team has said it, and Rihanna's body language at every recent event has said it. Rihanna would rather sell you Fenty lip stain than sing Umbrella under a rain rig for 2 hours a night. And I get it, respectfully. Touring is grueling. Justin Bieber hates touring. Miley Cyrus barely tours. Adele had to build a Vegas residency just to survive the concept of nightly performance. But touring is where the actual money lives. Album sales are split 14 ways before the artist sees a nickel. Tour money hits the account like a gunshot. And Rihanna, who does not write her own music, needs that tour money more than she wants to admit. And let us not pretend Rihanna's live vocals are a non-issue. We saw what happened at that recent stadium show. We heard the backing track do the heavy lifting. Rihanna was singing under the track, around the track, sometimes 10 feet behind the track. Rihanna is a superstar, an icon, a mogul, but Rihanna is not a technical vocalist, and the Navy has been coping about that for a decade. I am not being mean. I am being honest. Rihanna is a moment. Rihanna is a movement. Rihanna is not, however, a soprano. And that is fine. Beyoncé is the soprano. Rihanna is the vibe. Different lanes. Which brings us, hilariously, to Teyana Taylor. Because Teyana Taylor decided, in the year 2026, that she wanted to prove to the world that she can sing after that Yankee Stadium performance with Beyoncé and Jay-Z that broke the internet in the worst possible way. Teyana Taylor got up on the biggest stage in black music, in front of the Carters, in front of Rock Nation, in front of every entertainment blog on earth, and Teyana Taylor delivered a vocal that made your grandma turn down the television. Now, Teyana Taylor is talented. Let me say that clearly. Teyana Taylor is a phenomenal dancer. Teyana Taylor is a serviceable actress. Teyana Taylor has impeccable fashion sense. But Teyana Taylor is not a singer, and the sooner the industry stops handing her microphones, the sooner Teyana Taylor can protect her legacy. Fans on X called it lack of self-awareness. Fans said Teyana Taylor has been coddled by the industry since she was a teenager. And they are not wrong. Teyana Taylor has been famous since MTV Sweet 16. Teyana Taylor has been under the Roc Nation wing for over a decade. So Teyana Taylor has been given grace that other singers, better singers, will never see. And I truly believe the reason Teyana Taylor got on that Cowboy Carter stage in the first place is because Teyana Taylor is beloved by Jay-Z and Beyoncé personally. That is not a diss. That is how the industry works. Proximity is currency. Now, there is one more layer to that stadium disaster nobody is talking about. The show was reportedly 4 to 5 hours late. Beyoncé's team blamed crowd flow. Jay-Z's team blamed technical setup. But sources connected to the tour say the real problem was a full-blown audio malfunction, and Teyana Taylor's in-ear monitor was allegedly one of the pieces that failed. So while the internet was roasting Teyana Taylor may have been legitimately unable to hear the key. That does not fully absolve her, because a real singer sings the key from muscle memory, but it does complicate the narrative. And I want to be fair. I want to give Teyana Taylor that grace even though I am the first to call her out. Justine Skye also inserted herself into this news cycle. Justine Skye, the singer who runs with the Kardashians, decided this was the week to mimic the Walmart yodeling boy in a promotional video for her Lollapalooza set. And listen, I get the joke. But Justine Skye, my beloved, that reference is 5 years old. That yodeling clip was a 2018 event. You cannot pull a 2018 reference in the year 2026 and act like you just cracked the algorithm. The Walmart yodeling boy himself responded with a dry, one-word yes in the comments, and honestly, that yes was the funniest part of the entire exchange. Now let me pull the camera back, because I promised you at the top of this video that there was a piece nobody was telling you, and here it is. Everything I have just laid out, Cardi B screaming at Essence, Cardi B admitting she is never on beat, Chris Blake dragging Stefon Diggs, Megan Thee Stallion lightning skin allegations, Rihanna's double album leak, Tyla's collaboration light tracklist, Teyana Taylor's Yankee Stadium meltdown, Justine Skye's outdated yodel joke, all of it, every single piece, is happening in the same 96-hour window. That is not a news cycle. That is a coordinated pressure test on the entire black pop music ecosystem. And the labels know it. Atlantic knows it. Roc Nation knows it. Def Jam knows it. Because when the top 5 women in hip-hop and R&B all stumble in the same week, that is not chaos. That is opportunity for whoever is standing on the sidelines waiting to be next. And Cardi B, sweet Cardi B, is standing directly in the crosshairs of that opportunity. Because if the surprise she is teasing is a diss track, and if that diss track is aimed at another woman in the game, she is walking into a firefight with an unarmed reputation. The Essence performance already handed her critics all the ammunition they need. Cardi B admitting she cannot hear, cannot count, and cannot handle a stadium is the exact clip that will loop under every review of the next single. Cardi B needs to think, and think hard, about whether the Big Bad Wolf era is a strategy or a suicide note. Meanwhile, Stefon Diggs is still Stefon Diggs. Still quiet. Still smirking. Still allegedly texting other women while she posts about being obsessed with their newborn son. And the baby Brim, who she says can make anyone's day, is going to grow up one day and Google this exact era. Chris Blake said it out loud. I am saying it again. Be mindful of what you put on record, because these babies become teenagers, and these teenagers become adults, and these adults read every word we ever typed about their mothers. Let me pause right here, because I want to zoom in on one detail from that live that everybody is glossing over. She said, on camera, that she gets, quote, possessed when she performs. She said she does not know what happens to her, she just becomes something else the second the lights hit. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a cute, humble, artist brain quote. But listen to it again with industry ears. A performer who does not know why she performs the way she performs is a performer who cannot correct the performance in real time. Beyoncé can correct in real time. Janet Jackson can correct in real time. Even Megan Thee Stallion, on her worst night, can correct in real time. Cardi B just told the entire industry that when the show goes wrong, she does not know how to fix it, because she does not consciously know what she is doing. That is the confession under the confession. And that is why the Essence clip is so dangerous for her brand. It is not the screaming. It is what the screaming reveals about the absence of a performance blueprint. And here is where the story doubles back on itself, because remember, she is the same rapper who just called herself the Big Bad Wolf and teased a surprise record. So we have a performer who admits she cannot hear on a stadium stage, admits she is never on beat, admits she becomes possessed and cannot explain her own instincts, and that same performer is about to release a competitive record aimed at another woman in the game. My darlings, do you see the setup? Do you see the trap? Because the second she drops that diss, every rival camp is going to loop the Essence footage under it. Every reaction channel is going to split screen the screaming next to the new single. Every meme page is going to caption it, Big Bad Wolf, or Big Bad Microphone. She is walking into a war zone with the receipts already loaded into the enemy's gun. And Bardagang, before you fill the comments with the usual, at least she pays her taxes, at least she showed up, at least she has a Grammy, hear me clearly. I am not attacking her. I am telling you what the algorithm is about to do to Cardi B whether you like it or not. YouTube does not care about your loyalty. TikTok does not care about your streams. The algorithm is a mirror, and right now the mirror is showing her a woman who peaked in 2018 and is trying to convince the world it is still that year. And that is heartbreaking, because she has real talent. She can write. She can charisma her way through a red carpet like nobody else in the game. She just needs to stop letting Stefon Diggs, Atlantic, and her own ego book her into rooms she is not physically ready for. So where does this leave us? Cardi B has a stadium dream and an arena voice. Megan Thee Stallion has bars and a bleaching allegation. Rihanna has 2 albums and no desire to tour them. Tyla has 13 tracks and 1 shot to prove the flop narrative wrong. Teyana Taylor has a Yankee Stadium clip that will follow her forever. Justine Skye has a Lollapalooza set and a 5-year-old joke. And Stefon Diggs, quietly, is watching all of it, because Stefon Diggs benefits every time Cardi B stays distracted. The question I want you to sit with, and the question I want you to drop in the comments before you click off, is this. If she releases that surprise record next week, and it flops, is that the end of the Cardi B Stadium fantasy, or is that the beginning of a comeback arc so dramatic it becomes a documentary? Because in this industry, one flop can bury you, but the right flop, timed the right way, spun the right way, can also resurrect you. Ask Mariah Carey. Ask Britney Spears. Ask Rihanna, who has not dropped a real album in nearly a decade and still sells out arenas on nostalgia alone. Drop your prediction below. Tell me who wins this week. Tell me who loses this week. Tell me if she should cancel the surprise, release the surprise, or shelve the whole album until the Stefon Diggs situation is legally resolved. And if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button, because tomorrow I am dropping the receipts on Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Selena Gomez, Benny Blanco, Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber, Jay-Z, and Beyoncé, and the group chat that connects all of them in a way you will not believe until you see it with your own eyes. That video is going to break the internet. So do not miss it. I will see you there. Bye. SSSSSSSSS.